So one of the things I've been sort of soft pedaling in the videos I've done so far is I've been calling this whole thing a recession. I'm giving you advice of what to do in order to prepare for it. But I should really say that one of the reasons it's so urgent for me to put these out there is that I believe that this recession will really be something more of a depression, right? So a recession is something that usually lasts about a year, sometimes a year and a half. But a depression is something that could be far worse as far as malinvestments and debt being flushed out of the economy, as far as job losses are concerned, as far as lack of opportunity. There could be far more drastic in a depression and last for many years. So it could be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. So that's why it's so important for me to do my part in order to let anybody who wants to listen know that there's things you need to do in order to prepare, and there's things you need to do when you're inside of a depression that you really can't ignore. And eventually, if a depression is going to happen, you're going to have to be dealing with these things. So this is more of a time capsule. I want to make sure that you're prepared. One of the things people were asking were, how do you know if you might get fired from your job, right? Unemployment is one of the big things in recessions and depressions that people sort of want to avoid. You have a steady paycheck, you've been doing a job for a few years, you don't want to end up, sacked and on the street. It's hard to look for a job suddenly, and especially if you're past 35, 40, 50, and forget it if you're close to retirement age. So I find it very interesting that there's a lot of employees that don't necessarily understand that their position, that the value of their position has to do with how much money that they bring into the company, either directly or indirectly. Now it's sort of distasteful for people to think of themselves that there's a dollar figure on who they are, but it's not really who you are. The company hired you and they're paying you either directly and with all kinds of different costs and benefits that come with it, and they're expecting to get at least that amount of money back. So, and this is what's being considered during layoff season. So if you are, if the company is in expansion mode, if there's a growth period inside of the economy, well, they might not be so eager to count how much productivity you're generating. But in a downturn where they have to be cutting budgets, well, now they're putting a dollar value on you. So, what is it that you want to be thinking about? So you have to think. You can look into the history of the company that you're with, right? You can see during the last recession in 2008 or the time before that in 2001, did the company lay off any people? Right? That'll give you an idea if this is a company that's actually positioned for that. So some companies prepare beforehand and they know, okay, they're going to give themselves a buffer so they don't have to lay off anybody or not a lot of people. And other companies don't think about it until they have to cut to the bottom line. So, look at your own company's history to see what's there. You can also, if you're some positions in the company, you can see more directly what value you bring to it. So if that's you're in the sales department, or if you make an hourly wage, or you have a specific salary that has certain job requirements and what's the word I'm looking for? Duties that are associated with it, you'll be able to estimate sort of how much money comes in directly because of you. Now it's indirect. That's a little bit harder to do. So sometimes you're just going to have to go up to your boss, literally, and wear your heart on the sleeve and ask them, how much is your position worth it at the company? Do they find that you're bringing enough productivity to the company in order to justify your position? So it's a little bit scary, it's a bit rough, but it's something you're going to have to consider.